And we're back.
Welcome back to Beyond the Signs podcast.
I'm your co-host, Almar Hamouda.
And I'm your fellow co-host, Kira Lee.
And today we have a guest with us, Mike O'Brien. Mike, take it away.
Welcome.
Well, my name is Mike O'Brien. I am born and raised in New Jersey, as you know.
Yep.
As we all are.
As we all are, amen to that. And yeah, pleasure being on. This is great.
Absolutely.
Hit me with some questions, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So Mike, let the fans know who you are.
So I am a filmmaker, more specifically a director, editor, producer. I live in Los Angeles right now. Specialize in music videos, commercials, short films, all that good stuff, and just a versatile creative. I try to keep my hands in as many pots as possible to just keep the inspiration going.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to know, when was your actual start? Because I know we talked about it, but I want you to go a little bit in depth.
My actual start, I'll rewind it back. I'll be brief. So when I was growing up, my grandmother was an artist, a painter. So that sort of got my creative juices flowing as far as that was concerned. So I got into painting early on. Just continued in the arts, and then I got my first photography camera, in about fourth grade, and I loved it. Right, just snapping away, doing my thing, and the cool part was the camera had a 15-second option to shoot video, and that was fascinating.
Wait, 15 seconds?
15 seconds.
Yeah, there was and then it just stopped recording.
So these little 15-second clips, and I thought that was the coolest thing, and that was the transition point to video for me. And then from there on out, I just went with it. You know, I got my first video camera with the help from my parents, of course. I couldn't afford shit at that point. And
what was that camera? Do you remember?
I believe it was a JVC something.
Okay.
JVC.
You know that brand, right?
Yeah, you're taking us back in the day.
JVC or Panasonic, but either way, my friends and I would, shoot hoops, do stupid things, film it, because it was fun, and these are the early editing days too, when I wasn't in Premiere Pro yet.
Yep.
I wasn't in Resolve yet. I don't know what the heck I was using at that time.
Probably a Windows Movie Maker at the time.
Maybe Movie Maker, or I think it was called Pinnacle Studio.
Pinnacle Studio.
So I continued through high school, making videos for class projects. Anytime there was you could do a paper, you could do this, you could do that, I would always opt for a video, So went through high school, continued through college, majored in, it was called RTF, so Radio, Television, Film at Rowan University, and then made my jump to Los Angeles with my now wife in 2017, and now I'm here. So that's the general overview.
That's
of my
quite
life.
the journey.
Yes.
So the other question is, what was your actual first gig? Do you remember that? What was the feelings?
My first paid professional gig?
Whatever it is, whether it be paid, unpaid, what made you feel like you're doing the right choice?
I would say, so I told you about the 15-second thing, right? So
Right.
I got to high school doing class projects. There was one, I think it was for English class. The movie 300 had just come out. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of buddies together. We made some ridiculous version of that just with a bunch of my buddies, and I just made it very cinematic with the music and visual effects. I kind of went all in on it, and at that point the reception from people was just this is nuts. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can make a career out of this. And that took me through college. And my first paid gig, that's a good question. I think it was for a music video for my buddy. His name is Tijan was his name. And it was a music video up in Nanuet, New York. Just simple Simple little thing. I think it was like $200, whatever it was, and that got my music video career started. So I would
That's
say
pretty cool
that's
that,
probably my first paid.
that a buddy of yours was able to, like, you know, get you on the budget for it. And
Yeah, barely. But
right,
he got me
but
there.
it's a start.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
start. You
something.
got to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's still something, because
Absolutely.
like if you really think about it, like so many people come up to us like on a daily who are supposedly friends and like, yeah, you can shoot it. It's just pointing a camera at me and
Yes.
calling
And
it a day.
that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like and they're like, oh, you could do that for free, no problem.
Right. Then
You
my
know?
buddy understood that there's value in this
Right.
monetarily for me. Yeah.
Right.
So that was cool, and to work with him on, you know, my first ever video, music
Absolutely.
video. Yeah.
Do you still like look at that video?
No, I don't. I don't, dude. I think that's unlisted now. It's not. It's nowhere. You can't find it anywhere.
That's a shame. Maybe one day I'll
One day.
get to see it.
Maybe we'll see.
All right. So you've been out in LA for like 5 years. So
5 years, yeah.
explain the experience of being in a new environment that you grew up in New Jersey, and how was LA when it came to actually just making it out there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was blessed enough to know people that moved out to LA from New Jersey before me in this industry. So I kind of went in with some connections already, and that made me feel a lot more comfortable with taking the dive and going into it. And also at that time, I really trusted myself and, you know, my craft to be able to take on any job and make it work and go with the flow and freestyle. And yeah, so the connections I had out here were big to just get me on gigs immediately, and then I started building from there. But yeah, I mean, for anybody that's making a jump like that, it's definitely, I could see it being daunting and hard, and it still was daunting for sure. But there was definitely a level of comfort for me personally going into my Los Angeles jump.
How old were you when you moved?
I believe I was 27.
Okay. See, that. I think that's another factor, because I had, you know, a very different experience moving there at 19. I was very young, you know, I didn't really have anybody out there to keep me like grounded, you know, and I kind of got sucked a little too much into like the LA scene. So like it definitely, I'm sure, made a huge difference that you went out there a little bit older, knowing like, all right, you know, I have my grounding here, like I can move out here and just be tunnel vision on exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Just focused.
Yeah, I was more mature when I moved out, and that definitely helped with everything. Helped me get my base in LA right at a more grounded level, and you know, more grounded energy for sure.
And I know you meditate a lot, so like how does that like help with like the craft and like staying grounded as well?
So meditation, that's been the key to sustaining creativity for me. And it hasn't been like, it's not always all good, you know. Like I've been through some creative ruts where I'm just not feeling it, not inspired. So just meditation as a whole, it just slows you down. It you know, brings you into the moment, and you expand your awareness, and you see things you didn't see before, and see creative options, and maybe I'll try this or experiment with that, because that's what editing is a lot. Editing is just experimenting. So if you allow yourself a space to experiment and not be rushed and like shit, I gotta get this done, or you know, you got deadlines and all that, but you could still slow down within that and just like open up that space and just kind of let it all flow down, let it all flow through rather.
Yeah.
So meditation's been a huge help in keeping me grounded on set, especially when having to direct people and, you know, be a leader on set with everybody, because things get hectic, as you guys know, on set, and it's very, you need a grounding rod, and I like to provide that.
Which leads me to a next question that you actually brought to mind is, have you ever worked on a project where you were directing and it wasn't going your way, and how'd you like deal with a situation like that?
Great question.
That's a great question. So, yeah, I feel like every shoot there is something that doesn't go how you planned. It's just what it is, right? For me, I'm very mindful of bringing on people who I vibe with, right? People who understand, that are, within, I guess, how do I explain it? People who just get it, right? And those people on set, if I fall off, they'll pick me back up, right? They'll take something over. There have been times where it's like end of the day, got to get this last shot, and I'm wiped, mentally, physically, everything. So like I need to I know I need to keep going, but I also need to like chill for a moment, kind of recenter myself. And I'll have my buddy Sean, who DPs for me, like I'll have him just take over, call the shots for this scene while I just go step to the side. I trust him fully. So having a crew you could trust to pick up the slack when you're not there, because we're all human, not going to be on point at all times, but yeah, a good crew and people you could trust is key.
Yes.
Big time.
Yes, right. Especially to be able to get the job done when,
right.
Even if you're not in the room.
Exactly. To take your vision and, hold on to that vision for you, not like take it another right. direction.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, has there ever been a time where like you felt frustrated with a client for unreasonable demands, requirements, and all that?
For sure.
I know you're holding up back.
For sure, dude. I've dealt with some BS clients. Can I curse on
Yeah,
this?
go for it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I've dealt with some bullshit clients. We all have, and it's some people just don't understand what goes into creating.
Yes.
And the amount of time we put into it, and the effort, and it's like we were talking earlier. It's like, oh, can you do this for $500? Like edit this elaborate video, for instance. And it's like, no, absolutely not. Like, this will take me a week to do. $500 is not going to pay the bills.
Right.
And there's a disconnect with some clients. But I feel that throughout the process of growing in LA and working my way up in jobs, that's sort of, it weeds itself out in a sense. Like, you're not coming in contact with people who.
I was going to say, like, especially when you're in that type of atmosphere in a place like LA that's so heavily saturated with people who have been around the block in those type of situations, that you're less likely to come across somebody who really doesn't understand the weight of the work that goes into this and that, because that person has most likely been in, one or two positions similar to yours.
Yes,
So.
They understand. I mean, I understand. You have to kind of. I also see it from the perspective of people who don't, pay you for your time or really give you that respect, because it's like they don't understand. They don't see it as you do. They're not in the bubble. But people that are working at a higher level definitely understand how it goes and, the ins and outs of everything. So
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, and it's a lot of people. LA could go two ways. LA could be it's a very saturated, very ego-driven place.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's a pocket in there that is like beautiful.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
So
especially if you have the right people out there with you.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the other question is, I'm just spitting out questions for you right now. So when it comes to budgeting out like different production, I know we spoke about this off camera, but it's something that like a lot of people struggle with. So how would you, not typically saying like what are your budgets for certain projects, but mainly like what are the key elements that you take to really put a budget together for any productions you do?
Okay. Well, I'll start. A lot of times the clients give you the budget. So I'll ask what's your budget? Depending on the client, if it's a great opportunity, I'll work within that budget. If it's a client I feel like I could push a little further to get a little more money, whether it's for my crew, for me, for equipment, whatever it might be, I'll push. That's really an intuition-based call at that point. I start with getting myself paid. I've learned that over the years. Make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to take the biggest chunk at all. Like whatever you're just comfortable with at that point. Get your people paid, get your crew, get them nice rates, and equipment rentals. That's kind of how I base it. And any travel, food travel, any of that sort of stuff is always, any of the overhead aside from equipment, I usually try to bring outside of the scope of the budget. Like that's extra. That doesn't touch the budget at all. But it really, really, really depends on what the type of client you're working with, how big they are, if they got deep pockets, if the opportunity's incredible. So there are a lot of variables with going into it, but I would say, get yourself paid first, crew, and then your equipment that you're going to shoot everything with, and locations, depending if you need that.
Right. Which is the other thing is like you travel a lot for a lot of these productions.
Yeah.
First question is, do you enjoy traveling for work? And if you do, what was your favorite place that you've went to actually do work?
I love traveling for work. I do. I think it's refreshing. Get to travel for a living. That's cool. Like I want to see different places, experience different things. The coolest place I've traveled to for work would be Paris, France.
Oh.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, that's
I gotta
insane.
hear the story about that.
Oh, I need a sip of water.
Go for it.
So Paris, France was probably the coolest trip I've been on work-wise. Actually, it was for 2 separate trips, actually, both Paris. First one was in 2015 with 2 of my buddies, and they're twins, they're models, and I was shooting sort of a campaign, I guess you would say, for just for Brooks Brothers.
Oh,
that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't for Brooks Brothers, but like that was I guess you could say it was a spec, right?
Right.
So we went out. They flew me out to Paris, and we just walked around the city, just shot, and like I'm a big fan of architecture, and like I love historical, and it's just Europe's crazy as far as that. So that was awesome, and just to be able, that was my first time there, and it was just really cool to be in another country, especially, and to film, because usually I'm in the States, just kind of, bouncing around. So Paris, France, the first time was the coolest spot, and the second time I went was with my buddy Jordan Taylor, right? Taylor Films. We went and shot a couple commercials for L'Oreal Paris.
Oh,
so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And got to shoot on like a boat somewhere, and outside of the Eiffel Tower at like 5 a.m. when nobody was there, just to get shot.
I can't imagine.
It was magical.
That's crazy, man.
Especially to know that you're out there, like, and you have a purpose being there, and you're not just there as someone, like, I mean, obviously it's amazing to go in general and enjoy it as just a visitor, but being there for work, like having a real purpose, I'm sure that was just
It was
incredible.
so cool. Yeah, because like I would go on a trip anyway and shoot video or take photos, but it's like now I get to provide something for a dope client, and also get paid, and just, there's a purpose behind the film and the photos that I'm taking. It's now going to be brought into post, and I'm going to be able to create it and mold it there. It's just, there's so many other ways to create on top of just going as a tourist, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And I think we skipped this question, but I wanna circle around it, because it's the whole concept about what this podcast is about. But what was your sign that you're like, you're on the right track? What was that sign that like got you there?
That I was on the right track to become, like, to stay within my freelance realm?
Exactly.
Okay. Like as a career.
Yes. As a creator.
So I'd say my sign for really sticking with the freelance portion of this and not going to a post house or a 9-to-5 kind of job was, I think, the frequency and the consistency that I was getting of gigs, just from people I knew out in LA. There's a snowball effect that happens where you just go.
There is. There
I don't know
totally
what I'm
is.
going to do next month, 2 months, 3 months, and it's like there's a faith in and a belief in just kind of, I made it this far, I'm gonna just keep going with it. Like, I'm just gonna keep rolling. It's been fruitful thus far. Like, I'm making more and more connects every day. So it's also like the probability of me continuing this success is very high. If I continue to meet people and get more jobs, it's just gonna snowball and continue. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't months where it was like 1 gig a month, right? That does happen. But the more people, you just keep meeting people, and people open doors for you. You like, there have been jobs where I've had zero expectation for anything to come out of it, and it's opened a door to something incredible that led me down this path. So it's just doors opening left and right, and I was aware enough to see that and stick with it and be like, this is I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And actually, you wanted to.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, being able to network in that way and being able to have conversations with people and make those connections is probably, like one of the most important things to keep you going in the industry.
Networking.
Yeah.
Number one.
Number one.
You have to know. You could be fire, but if nobody knows, you don't know anybody or nobody knows who you are.
You have to be putting yourself out there in that way.
You have to.
Constantly.
Yeah, I know some creatives who've come to LA that are extremely talented, but they just didn't stick with it long enough and they left,
Right.
Just couldn't hack it.
So it actually segues to what I really wanted to talk to you about, is like how we first got to work together on the music video that actually just dropped last Friday for Leave Me. Yep. So do you want to talk about that experience?
Yeah, that experience. Yeah, this is, the universe has its ways, like, plain and simple. People attract towards each other. It just happens. You know what I mean? The Anise, meeting Anise, and first I met Zach through my buddy Paul. Zach reached out to me looking for a video to be shot in Santa Monica a few months back. Anise was doing a pop-up show, and they wanted to capture like a tiny desk kind of thing. So went out, did that. Met Anise, met more of the team, his brother Salim, and so from there, they hit me up July 3rd. Zach hit me up July 3rd. He's like, yo, we're about to go on tour. Leave Me's coming out at the end of the month. We need to shoot a video. Can we make it happen? Like, the window was very, very, very tight before they had to leave. I think they had to leave like later.
I think it was July 8th.
The 8th. July 8th. He had to leave July 8th for tour. So I hopped on a plane July 5th. I was like, let's get it. Let's do this. See, like, this is a perfect situation where the opportunity far outweighs any of the money, any of the budget coming in, right? Like, the opportunity is there. Like, let's create something with an incredible artist, right? With incredible people. So I flew out. Actually, before I flew out, got in touch with Omar.
Yeah.
Through Zach, and because I was looking for another shooter, I needed somebody else there. I needed help, and Zach's like, I know this guy Omar. He's got everything. He knows everything. And I was like, bro, say less. Like, bring him out. And then we got in touch and got down to Virginia. We met there, and it was a fun surprise because I brought the Sony FX3, first time using that camera. And then this guy pops out, he's like, yo, I got the same camera. I was planning on shooting this with one camera, right? But he has the same thing. So, all right, this turned into a 2-camera shoot, sort of divide and conquer kind of thing. And it worked out beautifully because you took Julia, got her shots, while I went with Anise and got his shots. So if we were to do this with one camera, it would have been very, very.
And keep in mind, we only had literally less than a day to actually film
I think we
this.
shot it in 11 hours.
11 hours, yeah. So
it's crazy. That's like what we've talked about in the past about, like, the spontaneity of some projects is like what makes it so amazing at
Agreed.
the end.
And the funny thing is, we had a lot planned, but like the thing was that we had plans to go to another location, a different location, but like when we got to the initial location where everything is going to be filmed, I guess we just caught up with like the beauty of like where we were, and that's where we just took it from there.
We just went from there. I mean, the farm was, that's it. There's so many pockets of the farm that we could film in. I mean, rewinding back, the whole process of getting this video together like that. So we got there, Anise, the band, Zach, they were all in rehearsal while this was going on. So Omar and I were chopping it up about the video and trying to figure out how we're going to do this and, you know, make this thing happen and have it make sense and be impactful. And we were looking for a female lead, like up until
The very last
second. And
Yeah, I remember you were calling me asking if I knew anybody to
like out in
to
Virginia.
refer.
we were all on the horn, just kind of like, do you know anybody? Do you know
Yeah.
anybody? I went through a casting site, like all that kind of stuff. But Anise had put out a post earlier that day asking if anybody was around, female lead. And Julia got back. She lived in New Jersey, though. That was the whole thing. So it went through management, this whole thing. And long story short, she's hopped on, I believe, a train or drove, or I don't know how she got there. But but she showed up, and she was there the next day with her friend Amanda. And now the rest is history. Like, so it came together. Like, I didn't have a doubt at all that it would come together. Like, I was just very confident on, like, this will happen. You know, this whole situation is very, very synchronistic, and like, I believe it'll continue like that.
And it's funny because I actually remember the experience. Like, I don't think we ever like were worried one bit.
No.
And the funny thing is like, usually when I work with people, like they're like, oh my God, like how we're gonna do this one, and that's where it gets really like negative, and like nothing gets done because you're thinking about the negative.
Correct.
But because we were always positive on that experience, I think that's where like we really shine the most.
Agreed. I think that you have to have that mindset, right? You
Yeah,
gotta have
absolutely.
like, what's this? You have to have a solution-based mindset. Like,
Right.
if this doesn't work out,
Right.
keep it moving.
Right.
What's next?
Yeah,
Like,
you can't get stuck.
you cannot get stuck because nothing's make or break. Especially in the creative process, nothing is make or break. Like, we had the farm, we had Anise, good enough.
Right.
If I had to go to LA and shoot a girl separately and come up with a storyline to like phase her in somehow, I would have done that. That's where my mind was going.
Right.
Like, that was my plan B.
Plan B.
For that.
Yeah, to
So,
adapt.
To adapt. Like, we'll make this work. And I think through years of doing this and like learning how nothing is ever going to go exactly how you plan it to,
Right.
you expect that. And it's not in a bad way, like you expect failure at all. It's like you expect the unknown. I mean, that's what you're going to get. You got a bunch of different people, a bunch of different energies on set. Hopefully they align, but there's so many variables. Location, like the neighbor's dog won't shut up. Like,
Yeah.
these are things you can't take into account, right, when being on set. And so with that mindset just being just wired into me.
Yeah, and talking about
Yeah.
shots, because like I remember doing the drone shots and like watching the music video, I literally looked at something and I was like, wait, dude, I don't remember taking that shot. And I called you up right there and then I was like, dude, I'm like, where'd you get that? He goes like, well, actually, I was out in Pennsylvania and I took that shot and just sneaked in the music video.
Ah,
Yeah.
smart.
Oh yeah.
So like I can see why like it makes complete sense, like how you like phase things in, like no one notices unless if you were there and you were the one editing and taking the video itself.
Exactly. Like, that was a nice little surprise. As I was going through it, I was like, ooh, well, this could work. But I think also the confidence in knowing that I'll make it work is because because I'm mainly an editor. I come from an editing background, so I know what I could do. I know what I could take and make it into.
Right.
So I have full trust in myself that no matter what, I'll make this fly.
Right.
Like no matter what. So that definitely helps with, and you just string it up the line, right? You go from editor with, the post-production end result, string it all the way up to director and producer. It's the same through line energy. That's it. So I stick with that.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, while the release of the music video, we actually went out and saw Anis's billboard.
We did.
Dude, how excited, or what was the feeling going on when you saw like your own like music video up on there? I know I filmed just a small bit of it, but like, how does it feel being the actual like editor, filmer on it?
It's honestly, it's surreal, is what it is. It's like, I mean, growing up in New Jersey, and it's like Times Square, New York, like that's the Mecca, that's it. And it's to have something created, plastered up there for everybody to see it's just nuts. It's really, I really have no words for it. It's just, I tried to just stay in the moment and enjoy it,
Right.
and it's just, this is a sign for, there's much more to come. Like that's the first of many is the way I see it. But it was amazing, and I'm grateful to have that opportunity. And your shots are in there too, man.
Yeah,
like let's go.
The only shots I had was of Julia. I'm like, yes, those are my shots.
Yes,
No, you called me yesterday.
Her running those shots are incredible.
They're insane.
Right?
And the
a lot
funny
of energy.
the funny thing is, like, if you remember correctly, like you asked me, did you do it on the stabilizer? No, I'm like, I ran behind her with my own like.
That was smart.
That's
because the handheld look gave it that
very robotic feel.
Yeah, that comes down with the probably image stabilization inside the Sony gives it that. I kind of won't do that anymore. Yeah, I was experimenting with it, and it came out good. Like if people who know what to look for, you can maybe see it, but other than that, like always image stabilization off. If you want a nice smooth handheld look,
Got it.
just make your camera heavier, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Dude, your rig for yours FX3 is just insane.
Yeah.
It's like on a handheld with like the monitor on top, the what's it called, the boom mic. It's just insane. When I looked at it, I'm like, damn, I need to upgrade. But like I have this weird thing, and we were talking about it last time, which is GAS. You ever heard of it? Gear acquisition syndrome.
No.
You never heard of it?
No.
Totally.
So-
we did talk about this last time.
So gear acquisition syndrome is where you feel that you can't do a project because you don't have enough gear. So if like
I felt
or
that.
the correct
Yeah.
gear.
I felt that. Yep.
or the correct gear, but like here's the problem with the syndrome is that you go out and actually buy the gear.
Oh, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that
See?
either, right? That's
See,
the
if you can tell,
difference.
like I have that problem.
He doesn't
Yes,
have
you
that
have a lot of
impulse
gear.
control
Yeah.
there.
But-
Yeah.
I mean, look, like you got 3 cameras
I mean-
cooking right here. All this stuff, like you use it.
No, I do
Absolutely.
use it.
So it's not like you buy gear and then don't use it, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe you
Right.
do. I don't know.
I'll be honest, there are accessories that I am guilty of buying that I don't use.
Yeah.
Sort of like the you ever heard of the Hollywood video transfer where it's like you have like a receiver and transmitter, one like you can like from the DP side of things you can actually watch what the cameraman is doing.
Oh yeah, like a wireless, like a Teradek or a wireless. feed,
Exactly. I never used it. Bought it, never used
Yeah.
it.
Never used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, hold on to it because when the sets get bigger and you want to wire out something, the feed to Video Village, like you'll be good.
oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it was a future purchase.
Absolutely.
Right.
Future Omar is thanking you.
It's an investment.
Exactly.
Yeah, future Omar is thanking me,
Totally.
but he's actually crying inside because there's something better that just came out that year.
That's true. That's very true, dude.
But regardless of any of that, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was like the most surreal. Like you called me yesterday when you were in Times Square, and I remember just hearing the excitement in your voice, like, yo, like we just saw that shit up there on the billboard. Like that's
Yeah.
really up there for everybody to see, and that's just, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no,
the
it's-
goal for so many creators is to just have like a hit, milestone like that of
Yeah.
being able to say that their work led them there.
And I was just the second shooter, and that was my excitement. Imagine
Right.
like the main shooter,
Right.
and his excitement.
Yeah, it's so cool to be up there, because you got Drake, DJ
Right.
Khaled, like all these big time artists up there, and it's like to know that we're in that pool.
Right.
That's the caliber of work we're putting out, and the response from people like YouTube especially is right up there with it. And to have an artist like Anise, who's just going through the roof right now, is like it's a match made in heaven. It really is.
Truly.
Yeah, if you remember the live performance, he said that this is gonna be the biggest song that he releases this year, and he's like, I'm manifesting that.
Yeah.
So like once he said that, like it gave me chills. I was like,
done.
oof.
It's written. It's
Yeah.
it. It's it. It's out there, and he's publicly manifesting things, which like expedites that
Absolutely.
tenfold,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Because now you have other people also being like, "Ooh,
Can't wait until this
this
happens.
is it! Like this is the one," and then
Right.
they're just feeding it. So I'm excited.
Absolutely.
The video is doing great after one day, and I think it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Keep punching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I guess to close it out, is there anything you wanted to end with to the people, or if you want to say what your next projects are, if you can? Unless if you're not signed on an NDA, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there are no right now. Something's in the works. I can't really say what, but I have corporate clients and that sort of thing. That's kind of in the wheelhouse right now. Working on some edits for them, but yeah, I just, like I said, as a freelance, it's you kind of go with it. Like I have some jobs over the next couple months, but it's not like they might not work out, So it's like it's a free fall, but it's a free fall where you put your hands behind your head and you chill,
Right.
And you just
Right.
enjoy it.
Right.
That's what this whole
You have to.
that's what this whole process is.
You have to.
And I love that. I think for any creative looking to start their career, whether it's in LA, New York, or wherever you are, the Midwest, it's just like you just gotta go for it. You gotta trust yourself to fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall on your ass, but you'll get back up and you learn. Like we were talking about earlier, it's like,
Yep.
there's no failure. It's just a learning experience, and these are cliche things. And I don't think they are, because they're so true. There's deep truths in this.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting why people think certain things are cliche. It's like,
they
that's
become
literally
cliche for
it.
a reason.
Right. It's like,
Because,
right. It's like, look at cliche things as like noble truths. Like this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but we make it so complex. So it's, I would just say, my meditation practice is just not even meditation, just mindfulness, just being with yourself and your thoughts, and becoming aware of how you operate, how you think, and how you respond to situations will really, really, really help you in not only life, but especially in this creative
Absolutely.
industry.
Well, thank you, Mike, for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Great pleasure talking to you, letting people get to know, and a lot of things that I didn't even know yet. So, pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on in your short time here in Jersey and
Absolutely.
making time.
I love it.
Absolutely. And we're ready to close this out.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down there, the bell notification, as well as follow our social media, which is going to probably be on my face, the Instagram, the Twitter, and the Facebook. And that's just follow us, and also follow Mike's Instagram,
At
which is
OB Films.
OB Films, and make sure to put that in the description down below.
As well, yeah.
And
go check out the music video.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Please. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to put it down in the description. Everything that links to everyone's, links to videos, going to be down below. And then with that being said, if you actually want to watch one of our previous episodes, it's going to be on Kira's face. And another video that's on Mike's face, and I think mine is the only one that's visible, because like how YouTube like spreads it along
Yep.
is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But with that being said, thank you, Mike, again, and
Thank you.
closing out this episode.
See
Thank you
guys
so much.
Next time.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Oh, thank you guys
Oh,
so much.
thank you, bro.